Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Just so everybody knows, this press conference is being recorded, and a copy will be available for download shortly after, later this afternoon. We'll go ahead and introduce Jay Norvell. And Coach, do you want to make an opening statement?
Sure. No, I just want to start off saying it was really just great to have an opportunity to play. It's been so long for us waiting for this first game. All these months of the COVID situation. Just really appreciate Doug and our administration and supporting us. Our team, our doctors have been amazing. Dr. Islas and Spencer Hyatt, Jay Hankey, and their whole staff has just been so great in helping us, our team, have a chance to play. And so we're very appreciative of that. It was a very somewhat typical first game where, we did some things well, but we have so many things that we need to improve. And I think that was the big context of our meeting this morning. I showed the players how we were really fortunate to win the game in a lot of ways. We did a lot of good things offensively at times. We played excellent defense at times, but we kind of lost our attention and our execution a little bit in the second half. We had some issues with turnovers offensively. We didn't score in the red zone a couple of times where we have to. And the two major areas that I was most disappointed was the penalties. We had far too many penalties, and it's so difficult to overcome those. And then, we take a lot of pride in winning the fourth quarter, and we did not win the fourth quarter. And, we were very fortunate to be able to go into overtime and make the plays that we needed to make in overtime. A lot of kids did a lot of good things. So a lot of kids have career days. A lot of kids played their very best games. Kids like Cole Turner, moving him from wide receiver to tight end, I think is really a huge positive for that kid. And he's got a bright future in there. He's close to 6'7", and that can run the way he is. He's 240-something pounds. Just really excited about what he can do this season. Romeo Dubs was outstanding. Carson Strong was outstanding. By far played his best game. We had some guys on defense really play well. Lawson Hall, our D lineman, played very well in this game. Burdell Robbins played very well. Julian Diaz as a punter did some very good things. But at the same time, we were up, I think it was 28-6 with 3 minutes left in the third quarter. And we just can't allow that type of lead to slip away. And so we've got a lot to learn from. We've got a lot to get better at. And so we've gone back to work on that. It's always good to win and show your football team where you need to improve. And so that's exactly what we did today. Tell the truth, Monday we got a lot of that covered. So obviously this week is a big week for us. We get to play UNLV state championships this week. This is a game that we've fallen short the last 2 years. We get to go on the road, play them earlier in the season. I think that's a great thing. And go play in their new stadium. So there's a lot of excitement in the state about this game. I think it's great, after all this downtime and the lack of sports, that we get a game like this in the state of Nevada at this time. So it's very exciting for us. We know the importance of this game. We talk about it, emphasize it, and we had some great meetings today and looking forward to this. So, one of the things about our season, the first 3 games are teams that we did not beat last year and that we have to correct. And, we were able to do that with Wyoming. I think we played much better up front. I think that was really the key for us as a team, is the way our offensive line responded. And so that's a real positive. We're looking for them to continue to improve. And as long as we continue to make the strides, I can't say enough about Jacob Gardner, a true freshman playing in his first college game against a very, very good Wyoming defense. They'll be one of the better defenses we play all year long. Very well coached. And but Jacob played the entire game. I know we threw the ball 55 times. He didn't give up a sack. And so really proud of him as a true freshman, playing a very critical position for us. Torrey Holt scored his first touchdown, freshman wide receiver. Avery Morrow, freshman running back, scored a touchdown. So we're getting contributions from young players still, and those kids will be very good players here. And so that's very encouraging for us. So we're very, very feel very fortunate to have won the game, and we're looking forward to, taking a step and improving this week on the road.
Hey, thank you, Coach. With that, we'll open up the floor to questions. Go ahead and unmute your line, and please be patient and try not to talk over somebody else. Thank you.
Coach, this marks another year where you start your season with a win. Just how important is it, especially this season with only 8 games, to start 1-0 as opposed to 0-1?
No, it's really important. I'm treating this season, and we have as a team, we're treating it like a playoff. We really are. I mean, I don't think anything can be assumed this year. Teams that are supposed to be good or teams that are supposed to be poor or inexperienced, I just don't think you can assume anything this year. There's so many things that are different, and it really just comes down, how do you prepare and how do you play on Saturday? And so we've really challenged our team. This is a sprint. It's not a marathon. It's an 8-game season. You have to start fast, and you got to stay focused. And we really talked about controlling our attention as a team. I think that's one of the things that's really hurt us in the UNLV game the last 2 years. I don't think we've had our entire focus and attention all the way through for 4 quarters and play the type of football we have to play to win a game like this. So that's our challenge, and it's going to be important this week. We're going on the road now. There's a lot of different protocols and things that we've got to address going on the road. We're playing in a new stadium, and we're playing an in-state rival. So there's a lot of challenges, but this is why we play. Our guys are very excited about the opportunity. We had a great practice today. We had Coach Tawa talk and Coach Alt talk to the guys, just a little bit about the history and his impressions. We've had a great start to the week so far. So looking forward to the rest of it. And it's all going to come down to preparation. All of these games will come down to preparation and attention to detail. And I think that goes to the maturity of our team, where you can't relax. You gotta stay focused, and you gotta be prepared. And that's all we're doing as a staff. We're trying to focus all our attention and energy on getting this team totally prepared.
Hey, Jay, last week Matt had talked about in year 4 getting to be more true to yourselves and true to those air raid concepts, and we certainly saw that come to fruition for most of that game. I just wonder the comfort level with the offense and having stability with Carson, and how that alters play calling and just overall comfort level.
Well, there's no question, and I've been a little bit hesitant, to be honest. The first couple of years, I just felt like we were a little bit inexperienced in certain places, and I just didn't want to put too much pressure on our quarterback, especially with the offensive line last year. But I do think we are at a level where we can kind of take the handcuffs off and the training wheels off, and we have a real comfort with that. Carson really has kind of grown up in our system. He doesn't have anything else cluttering his mind. So, this is kind of what he's learned in college. And, he believes in it. The kid really believes in it. And you see in the field the way that we want him to see. And that's so important that you have that chemistry with your quarterback as coaches. But he really saw the field Saturday. That's a really challenging defense to play against because they have really difficult.
Yep. Welcome back.
Sorry, this computer is not always totally functional, so apologize for that. No, that's a very challenging defense that Wyoming, that Carson played against. And I thought they really challenge you protection-wise. And so I just think that that was a very challenging opening game for a quarterback and for our offensive line protecting. We had a ton of problems a year ago against them, and we really showed a better understanding and how to handle it. So that was encouraging. But no, we feel very comfortable. Carson really truly understands all these concepts, and our skill guys do as well. And so we can push the envelope more, we can attack more, we can take the training wheels off and really go. And that's what we're excited to do again this week. We have to really play within the confines of the game. As we move along, he's going to see different defenses. I mean, people are going to do different things to it, and we have to be prepared to adjust every week. So, we have to take every week as its own entity, and that's gonna be Carson's challenge and this offense's challenge.
Obviously, this UNLV game only counts as one game on the schedule, but it's more important than that to a lot of people in this community, and I'm sure to your program. Can you just explain maybe what you've learned or what this game means to Northern Nevada, to your program, to your players, and to yourself? Just your first 3 years playing.
Yeah, I think it's the one thing about this game and about rivalry games, and this game in particular, it doesn't really matter what the records are, what the line of the game is, what's happened last week. It's all about that day and the team that's the most focused and the team that executes the best. But I think it's just so unique here in the state that you have two teams that play football. You have two communities that couldn't be more different. And you got Southern Nevada and the big city of Las Vegas, and then you have Northern Nevada. And there's just a lot of dynamics, I guess, that go with the fan base, and it's a sense of pride, obviously, for our community to have that cannon, and people talk about it everywhere. We feel a responsibility to have it here, our kids are very motivated to bring it back to Reno. And so, there's an empty space here when it's not here, and it doesn't set well with us. So, no, it's an incredible rivalry. I've loved it, being a part of it. And, you have a responsibility when you coach in it. You have a responsibility to prepare the team and to bring that thing home. So, we're not happy that we don't have it. We've been very disappointed the last 2 years. All three of the games I've been involved in have been wild games. I mean, they've been back and forth games that have gone right down to the end. And I expect this one to be no different. And, I think the other thing is that as players and coaches, what you see on film is not what you're going to get on Saturday. I mean, obviously, UNLV did not play very well in their opening game, but I I don't expect to see that team Saturday. They will be very motivated. I think they'll have great energy. And I think you'll see a different UNLV team show up on Saturday night. And so what I'm concerned about is that the right Nevada team shows up and that we have the right attitude and mindset to take care of the job that we need to take care of. So that's what makes the game great. The bragging rights and obviously each community wants the cannon. So we're very determined to go get it and bring it home.
Coach, going off of that, there's always an emotional component to a game like this, and then last year's game in particular ending with emotion. I'm wondering, from a coaching standpoint, what's the way to channel that to get it going positively when you face a rival like this?
No, it really doesn't. It really doesn't have any kind of effect on the game. I really believe that, and we talk about it every week. We've talked about it last week. I mean, the biggest challenge we have is really directing our focus. I mean, your focus is everything, and people in the stands, the stadium. I mean, it doesn't matter if we play this game in a $1 billion stadium or a parking lot. We could care less. We'll play them in the Caesars Palace parking lot. It doesn't matter. It's the focus on what you are trying to do on the field, and it's amazing. Saturday, we didn't have the number of fans that we normally had. I didn't even notice the fans. I was so focused on what was going on the field that it just is what we focus on. So you have to narrow your focus. All the extracurricular stuff doesn't matter. And we talked to our players about that, the talking and the social media stuff and what the fans are saying back and forth has no effect with the game on the field. So that's part of being a mature competitor and understanding where the game is actually played. And so, it's important that we remember that. And if we want to play to our potential as a team, we have to understand how to control our focus. And I think that's a challenge that we have, and we've talked an awful lot about that as a team.
With that said, Coach, you are playing this game in a nearly $1 billion stadium, and there's going to be a whole lot of football, a whole lot of things that go on in that building for years to come. Kind of cool that you guys will play the first collegiate football game in the history of Allegiant Stadium.
No doubt. No, we talked about that today. I was talking to Carson about that. I said, history's going to be made this Saturday. I said the first college game in Allegiant Stadium. Carson's a big Raider fan. I coach for the Raiders, and I was talking to Freddie Bolitnikoff last weekend. This is what makes college football great, playing in these kind of venues, and these are the things you dream about, when you're a kid. And so to play the first game in there is a great honor and something to really look forward to, and something to be able to tell your kids about, someday. And so we're excited. We've been looking forward to it for a long time, and we always look forward to playing these guys. And so it just adds to the excitement of this game.
Hey, Coach, on Saturday, I know Carson and Sam mentioned, just how big this upcoming game is going to be, and that they remember, from last year with overtime and stuff. Just how do you think that, these guys have had this game in their mind, and since it is so early this year, that they get an opportunity to play them sooner than the last game of the season?
I think it's great that we don't have to wait to play them, to be honest with you. We've been wanting to play them since last year, since the game was over with. So, we're like elephants. We don't forget. We don't forget the feeling of walking off that field last year. And whenever you lose games, it stings and it hurts. And we work for a year trying to figure out how to correct the things that we didn't do as well as we should have. So, these games, they're games to a lot of people, but they're our lives. We think about these things every single day. I've watched, every stitch of film from every coach that's at UNLV now. And, we're prepared. We're looking forward to it. We feel like we have a pretty good idea what they're going to do. And, our kids will be ready to go by Saturday. That's for sure.
Elijah Cooks and Lawson looked like they both left the game and didn't return on Saturday. What are their statuses for Saturday's game?
I think we'll see here as the next couple of days go on. Lawson's pretty sore. Elijah is also pretty sore. But they haven't been ruled out at this point. We're hoping that they're going to be able to participate and be able to play this Saturday.
In that same breath, Coach, can you offer any clarity on Toatawa's situation at this point?
Not really, be honest with you. He wasn't available Saturday, and we're hopeful that he'll be available this week.
I know you guys aren't really talking about details with COVID and whatnot. Can you talk about just the process required to get back cleared, I guess, if you're a player in that situation? Is it like 2 negative tests within a certain period? Is it 1 negative test? Is there a Mountain West protocol you guys have to follow, or a Nevada policy? There's a time frame where the player has to quarantine and sit out, and then there's a number of protocols about testing negative, but there's also heart protocols that they have to go through, just to make sure that they're healthy with their hearts. And so it's not just 1 or 2 things, it's several protocols that they have to get checked out. So, we've had some kids that have tested positive. They've had to go through that process. It is a time-consuming process, but it's part of the reality of what we're all going through this season. And so, I said this last weekend. This is a very unusual situation. I just talked to one of our Mountain West directors, and there's a number of things that come up every single day that are unexpected that you didn't know you'd have to deal with. And it's just it's the new normal of everybody operating under this situation. So, I think we very early on, we took the stance that, we're going to have to adjust. If people aren't available to play, we're going to have to move on and try to do the best we can without those people. And when they get back, they get back. So, as a team, that's the way we've looked at it. We've tried to look at it one day at a time. And, hopefully we don't have to go without too many players. But if we do, we all have to adjust, and the next guy's got to step up. And, we're thankful we were able to compete and play without Toa and get through the game. And, we're looking forward to getting him and getting him back, and I think there's a good chance we will. A season like this is definitely going to test your guys' depth just because of situations like that. I mean, do you feel way more prepared this year to be able to go through something like that, just because you do have your recruits in the program, and you saw, like you said, a number of true freshmen have really good.
Yeah, that's one of the things, Chris, that we really were mindful of the last 2 months. Was it was an opportunity for us to really prepare our younger players and make sure that they had a real foundation of understanding of what we do, because we really felt like we were going to have to play a lot of young players this year, and we felt like the 2s and some 3s would have to be as prepared as the 1s. So one of the things we did was we had split practices, which I haven't done in probably 25 years, but we practiced the 1s and 3s, and then we practiced special teams, and then we came back and practiced the 2s and 4s with the exact same practice. So what it did was it allowed us to prepare our 2s and give them exactly the same amount of repetition and practice time that the 1s got. And in a normal practice, your twos don't get that many reps. They don't get that many opportunities. And we practice a lot of game situations, a lot of third downs, red zone, goal line, 2-minute drills. And so our backup quarterback Nate got as many reps as Carson did. And you really saw those guys develop. Avery Morrow, that's one of the reasons that we felt so comfortable playing him in the game, because he got tons of reps the last 2 months, and so did Torrey Horton. And so those kids have been doing this in practice. So we have every confidence that they can do it in the game. And it's going to be more important this year than any other year. I think that's why you can't really assume anything in these games, because you never know who's going to be able to play. You never know who's going to have to step up in a critical situation. And we just feel like we've really invested a lot in our preparation, and we're hoping that's going to pay off over this 8-game season.
Coach, 2 years in a row with openers, you've gotten some really good kicking contributions. We all remember Brandon last year, and then Julian Diaz with 2 really timely punts. I'd imagine just from a coaching standpoint that lifts your heart to see that sort of thing 2 years in a row.
Well, I think, our coaches have done an amazing job. Tommy Perry was here and Thomas Shetfield, but, they've done an amazing job identifying talented kickers and then bringing them here to Nevada, and they're not even on scholarship. And so, Julian is on scholarship now. He's earned a scholarship, and same thing with Brandon Talton. But those kids are extremely talented. Julian Diaz has a incredibly live leg, and he's very raw. Did a great job for us last year on kickoffs, and then this year we just felt like he was had an opportunity to really be our punter. And he's a left-footed punter, which makes it a little bit more difficult for people. They don't see that spin on the ball very often. But those 2 50, 60, 70-yard kicks were amazing, and really should have finalized the game. And we let Wyoming off the hook late there and allowed them to drive down and score. But amazing kicks. And he really is just scratching the surface of how good he can be. He just hasn't really mastered his technique and his consistency. So much of being a really good punter is the consistency and the technique that you have. And he gets better every week. I think he'll continue to improve. And, the kicking game, one of the things, and I was really pretty disappointed with our team this morning. I let them know, we've been working really hard to improve this roster. We've recruited, and there's an old saying that you recruit from the bottom up of your roster. And so we feel like we have more athletes than we've ever had here since I've been here. And we really feel like that shows on special teams. And so, I was really disappointed in the game because, we deferred it for a reason. We deferred at the beginning of the game. We won the toss. We decided to go on defense because the wind was blowing from the north. We wanted to stop. We wanted to stop Wyoming. We wanted to make them punt into the wind and give Romeo a chance to return a punt for a touchdown. And that's the way I think. I think that every time that kid touches the ball, he should score. And I want our team to think that way. And the kid had an incredible return, and it got called back because of a penalty. And we just have to be better. We really can be outstanding in the kicking game. And we weren't Saturday. And so we're really working hard in those areas to make those plays possible. And those are all things that were by design. We went into the game thinking that, when I was out there in warmups and I saw the wind blowing, I was like, man, we're going to defer and we're going to give Romeo a chance to get a return. And we got it. And it just, so those are the things that we have to be better at. And I think we'll have an opportunity to improve this week at those things.
Anything else for Coach? Got time for one more?
Coach, with UNLV in the season opener rotating in 3 different quarterbacks, how much of a challenge is it just preparing for not essentially one, but several different possible options come Saturday?
No, it is a challenge, and we just have to be prepared. We've got a chance to see a little bit of them, all 3 on film. But the one thing, where we've been familiar with their schemes, we've watched a lot of Oregon tape and some of the things that the coaches have done in the past, and they stayed true to quite a bit of that the first game. And so their defensive coordinator was at Stanford, so we've studied them some. And we just have to do a good job schematically. I think one of the things about the way the season's structured, I just don't think you're going to see a whole lot of change out of people. You kind of have an 8-game season. You had, some time to prepare, but there's just not a lot of preparation time to do a lot of crazy things. So, the most important thing is just to get your guys to be able to execute and be fresh and ready to play on Saturday. And, and we have a game under our belt that we can see and evaluate them on, and we'll take a lot from that game. But we also know that they'll have, a few wrinkles and a few tricks for us as well. So, our guys are really working hard. I think that's the other thing between week 1 and week 2 is just how your players prepare and study for the game. And that's something that we're really challenging our young players that haven't been on our program very long, that, you have to spend time watching film. You have to spend time with your coaches. You have to really prepare for these limited opportunities, and they are limited. We only have 7 games left on our schedule. So every game's important. We have to stay awake. We have to pay attention to the details. And so that's what our challenge is this week.
Okay. With that, we'll go ahead and wrap up with Coach. Coach, thank you very much for your time. We appreciate it. We'll go ahead and move on to our players here. First up, senior offensive lineman Nate Brown. Questions for Nate?
Nate, what did it mean to have a pretty good showing, at least for 3 quarters there on offense, especially up front this week?
It was very nice because we had a good game plan in place, and we obviously have some things that we need to work on. We need to address those things in preparation and practice. But it was good to get out there and play football, and it was good to have some good things on film to build off of. And like I said, we need to fix the things that didn't go well.
Both and Coach Mummy have kind of talked about feeling like they can get back to the roots of what they want to do with this offense this year. I mean, do you feel like you guys are a lot more explosive, that the playbook is more open now that everybody has more experience, starting with Carson and then the offensive line as well?
Yeah, I think that we have some great skilled players, and we have some great players on the offensive line. And I think that, we can be very explosive, but that comes down to like preparation during the week. It's not something that you can just rely on, because you have to know what you're doing in order to be explosive. And that's really what it comes down to. And the experience is nice too, but preparation week in and week out is really what's going to help us to really build off of our explosiveness.
You've played in a number of these UNLV games now. Is there a different feeling on the field when you're playing your arch rival? And I guess, how would you describe what it feels like to play in this Fremont game?
It's a great feeling because it's really what college football is. That's what's great about it, is just playing in rivalry games. The feeling is that it doesn't matter what the record is, doesn't matter what games outside of this game, it doesn't matter the results of those. You're going to get the best from each team. Each team is going to give the other team their best effort. And that's exciting too, because it's going to be a hard-fought game for 4 quarters. And that's what's really so awesome about playing in these rivalry games, because it's going to be exciting. There's going to be ups and downs, but it's great because you kind of feel the energy from the sidelines, and in the past you feel it from the fans. But I honestly think in this game, in this situation, that there's going to be enough energy from the teams themselves because of you're playing for the Cannon.
Nate, you're probably more familiar with Carson than most people. What have you seen of his growth, from a incoming freshman last year to a guy who's Mountain West Player of the Week this year?
He's been amazing. He's really helped us out. He really takes control of the offense. He was always somebody that really studied the game, but it really his preparation is just really amazing. And he's gotten to the point where he's getting us in the right positions as an offensive line, but also as an offense as a whole. And he's really just really, really, really knowledgeable, and his knowledge of the game has really grown from this year, from last year to this year.
You played pretty early in your career, but can you just speak to what Jacob Gardner was able to do as a true freshman, starting at left tackle and playing really well against a good defensive line in his first college game?
I saw him in camp, and I knew that he was going to be good, but he really – surprised is not the right word, but he really played amazing. And to do that as a true freshman against a great defensive line, but also a defensive line that really doesn't just rush in their gaps. They move, they do all these things. And for him to be able to do what he did on Saturday is really special. And the good thing is that he has – 4 more years with this program, and he's only going to get better. He approaches the game not like a true freshman. He's willing to do the preparation. He's willing to do all the things that you have to do in order to play like how he did on Saturday, and that's really what's special about him.
Nate, how excited are you guys to play the first college football game in the history of Allegiant Stadium, where they're going to be playing for years and years to come?
It's an awesome feeling. We've seen pictures of the stadium, and some guys are from Vegas and they say it's an awesome stadium, and me personally, I'm super excited about it. I know the rest of the guys are just really excited to be part of such a cool really event, it being the first college game in that stadium, and just playing in an NFL stadium in general is awesome. It's a great feeling. The size of the stadium really kind of brings a level of excitement, and it's something that we are building off of this week. It's a great feeling.
What would it mean to you to be able, your senior season, you might be able to come back next year, that's all weird stuff, but be able to, bring that Cannon onto your guys' trailer and bring that back home to Reno, as you depart this program?
It would mean the world to me. Obviously the last 2 meetings haven't gone the way that we wanted it to. And we see it every day. Well, through Zoom and stuff, you're not in the facility doing meetings as much. But, for the past 2 years, that corner in our facility has been empty, and it's really just kind of hits you in the gut every time you see it, because, you're playing for the biggest college trophy that college football has to offer. And it would mean so much to me personally, because, you really want to end your career with a blue Cannon.
By all accounts, Wyoming is one of the better teams you guys are going to play this year. What does beating a team like that, I know you come into the season with a lot of confidence, but beating a team like that do for you guys and your belief that you guys can go out there and have a special season, maybe run the table, and, maybe be able to play in a Mountain West championship game for the first time in this program's history?
It means a lot. Wyoming's a great team. They're very well coached. But the one thing I really like about this team and what feels special about it is just we're confident, and our confidence grows going into each game. And that was a great confidence booster, but we have things that we need to build off of that game because, like I said, UNLV is going to play us very, very tough, and they're going to give us their best effort. And we need to have the confidence that we got from that game, but we need to understand that there's things that we need to get better at.
Okay.
Nate, what do you think-
Nate, one more for Nate.
Yeah, sorry. If that's okay, Chad, we have time.
Yep,
Just Nate, how do you think, just as a leader of this offensive line, how are you just helping, spread that energy onto these younger guys on the team? And you guys are under a new offensive line coach this year as well, but just to keep the union together and to continue to progress and get better.
I think that I try and help the team or try and help the guys, understand in every game there's going to be ups and downs. And myself, Jermaine Ledbetter, Tyler Orsini, Nate Edwards, we're all seniors on this offensive line. We've played a good amount of games, and we're really trying to get together, and we're trying to lead this unit to the old days of the union. And it just comes from not necessarily I have the utmost confidence that these guys can play. It really comes down to like the small details that I've been saying, like the preparation. And then once you actually get into the game, it's not so much I would say X's and O's, it's just the emotions of the game. Like me and Led, we're trying to tell, like last week, we were trying to tell these guys, like, there's ups and downs in every game, and it's really important to, keep a calm head and to just, power on to the next play.
Okay. That'll wrap it up with Nate. Nate, thank you for your time. We appreciate it today. We'll go ahead and move on to senior tight end Reagan Robertson. Questions for Reagan?
Reagan, as a native of Nevada, what does playing in this rivalry game mean to you personally?
Oh, it's big because I grew up coming to these games, and these were always the biggest games of the year. Packed house. A lot of red in Mackey and that kind of thing. And it was always an emotional game, and you saw guys playing their hearts out and leaving it all out there. So for me to be able to come up in this program and have a role in this rivalry is huge, and I'm not taking it for granted.
Reagan, what do you think of game one with this group and the potential that you guys might have this year?
I think it was awesome. I think we played well. I think we didn't play well enough. It's going to take some more preparation and some more film and taking some more notes and learning from game one. But I think we showed a lot of good things. I think that we showed that we should have put up some more points, and we shot ourselves in the foot a couple times. And I think if we can learn from that, we can light up the scoreboard this year.
Sounds like you had Coach Alt come and talk to you at the facility. You being a Northern Nevada guy, I'm sure you know all about his legacy. What is the message that the players get when they have someone like Coach Alt come and talk to the team about how long this rivalry has been going on and what it means to this community?
Well, Coach Alt comes in, and how he is. He's got a lot of fire. So he comes in hot, and he talks about the history and the things that his teams did and the ups and downs they had. He talked about today. He talked about a 5-year stretch where they didn't get the cannon back. There were some guys who came to this program and never saw the cannon for their whole career. And, he would tell stories like that. And for me, for the cannon to be red for the past 2 years has been tough. Because when I got here as a freshman, it was blue sitting in the corner. And I respected that. And I was like, wow, that's something special. But for some of these freshmen to come in for that time not to be up here, I think that's wrong. And we need to correct that quickly. He just comes in and he preaches toughness, preaches the histories, and talks about what it took for those past teams to get it done down in Vegas.
Reagan, another student of the game is Jay Norvell, who likes to talk a lot of history and all that. And you guys are looking at the first college game at Allegiant Stadium, and I know it's been mentioned to you. What's that going to feel like? Are you going to be able to soak that in, do you think? Or is it something maybe that's going to hit you later?
I think something's going to hit me later because, I always have a hard time soaking in the moment. I live on the surface pretty often. So I think it's going to be one of those things where I'm, reminiscing maybe in January when I'm washed up and looking back on this kind of thing and taking a look at the pictures and the scores and all that kind of stuff. I think that's when it really hit me that we played. We were the first college game to ever play in Allegiant Stadium and the first game to have fans, for that matter.
Reagan, how sour of a taste did last year's Cannon game leave with you guys, and just how much have you been chomping at the bit to right that wrong?
Well, these past 2 years have been tough. We especially last year, it was we played bad. Then we embarrassed ourselves at the end of the game, and none of that should have happened. But it's been a long waiting period of waiting to play these guys again. As far as I'm concerned, being local, this is the only game on the schedule.
Well, Turner obviously had a huge breakout game. What does he add to your group? How special of a talent is he in terms of being able to catch the ball from that tight end position?
Well, with his stature, he's actually a tight end. The rest of us are more H-backs and fullbacks kind of thing. But he allows some more depth to our offense. He'll get out in the slot and catch the ball a little bit, and then he'll come in tight and be in those big third and short packages with the rest of us. And the rest of us are 6'1". So we don't have the long arms like Cole that we have issues with those DNs. The DNs are always 6'4", 6'5". So Cole can match up well with those guys and allow me to get into the backfield to somewhere like I feel that I belong more at a fullback spot. So yeah, I think it's an awesome addition, and he's doing well.
You mentioned the end of the game against UNLV last year. I mean, this is obviously an emotional game, and you want to play with emotions. Has there been discussion about keeping your cool in situations like that so it doesn't turn into something that you guys would regret as a program, I guess?
Well, the thing is Coach Norvell talks about keeping a blue head all the time, keeping a blue head, staying even keel. No matter what happens, you stay relaxed, you stay calm, you refer back to your training. However you trained is how you're going to perform in the high stress situations and stuff. So I think that despite all those things, I think it's very emotional for a lot of guys, especially guys who came up here from Vegas. They have a hard time losing to, the Vegas team. And, for me, being local from, Northern Nevada, it's hard to lose from them. And so it's very emotional. But I think that at the end of the day, you got to act like a professional. We went to war, we lost. We got to respect that and be respectful about it.
How great was it just to get out on the field on Saturday and just to have that moment of we are finally here playing a game? It's been a crazy year. You guys were going to play, then you weren't, now you are. And just to have it all coming, full circle finally, and that you're getting into the swing of the season.
It's awesome. It's a good feeling because, we've had a long time without hitting anybody and, a long time without seeing any other opponents because, we didn't even get to have spring ball, went through the whole summer workouts, had 2 fall camps. So it was we saw a lot of each other, got sick of each other quite a bit, and it was nice to bang heads with somebody else for a change.
Anything else for Reagan? Okay. Reagan, thanks for joining us today. We appreciate it.
Yep, thank you.
Our last guest today will be senior cornerback Berdale Robbins. Questions for Berdale?
Berdale, your interception was obviously a huge moment, but one thing I didn't notice until I watched it again was you circled around like a soccer player getting chased and then handed the ball to Carson, if I'm remembering that right. Can you walk us through what you were thinking at that point?
Late game situations, 5 minutes left. I figured I'd get the pick. And, I believe in Carson. I watched the development since he came in as a green shirt, first spring ball to now. And, I really believe in him. So that was just me, like, I'm finna find Carson here, finish it. I got the ball back for you. That's our captain of the ship, and I just want him to finish it off.
On the interception itself, could you walk us through that a little bit? Did you feel like you just had it timed right? Did you read his eyes? It's such a big play for you guys that I'm wondering if you could walk us through it.
It's funny. I just pretty much every route I covered on Saturday was pretty much just like that. I was just waiting. I just was telling my team I just need one target. And surprisingly, he threw it, and I just broke on the ball, but it was nothing really spectacular about it or irregular.
You do seem to have a knack, though, for those big moment interceptions. I guess, what is it about you that, you're able to get your hands on the ball and make big turnovers for this program?
I think that's my job on the team now at this point. I just try to be there for them big moments. Like, if they're going to throw at me, then that's what I want to happen every play, every time, get the ball back from my team and just try to be that spark every time.
Verdale, the defense as a whole certainly had its moments and a lot of bending and not breaking for the most part. What do you just make of the group as a whole, one game in and looking forward?
I'm excited. I think this is probably the best defensive group we had in my 4 years. We got punched in the mouth in the third quarter or whatever. They came back and tied it. But for the most part, we pretty much dominated the whole game. I think we had about 8 3-and-outs or so, turnovers. I'm excited. I believe in those guys. We work real hard on the offseason, and we just want to earn our respect this year.
You guys obviously playing a new defense. What's your favorite thing about the new scheme and the new coaches that you're working with this year?
I feel like we can play more loose. Like, just as far as being ourselves, and just they put us in position to be the playmakers that we can be, that we are. I can't speak for the other team, the other position groups, but for example, like Banks, he's going to tell us where to be at, but he's not like on our heads telling us exactly how to do it. He's just letting us be us and letting us play, have fun. And it feels like a family now. So, yeah.
UNLV game coming up. It's obviously a huge game for this area. What do you remember about last year's game walking off the field, knowing that you guys had let that game slip away and now you get a chance to avenge that loss?
The only good thing I could take away from it is that I was a junior and I get another swing at it. Walking off the field, I was just thinking like, man, another year. But being shortened down by a month or so. So we get to get another swing at it this weekend, and I'm excited. I've been looking forward to playing these guys. I didn't play that much in that game, but if I got anything to do, I'm going to be there every snap. And, yeah, we want to get that cannon back for sure.
You guys excited?
You struggled a little bit in their opener, and I don't know how much you've been able to see of that on Monday here, but what do you expect to see from them? They're under kind of a new staff too, and how will you react to that as a unit?
We know they're going to come out and pass the ball. Got a pretty young group, but we're not going to underlook them. We're not going to – my whole thing is I'm going to come into this week and I'm not going to overhype them. I'm not going to overlook them. To me, it's just another game. It just so happened that we're playing for the cannon. We can't really change up how we do things or change our mentality. It got to be the same. Just keep a blue head and
Anything else for Verdale?
Just one quick more. The field is obviously the same size. It's the same kind of game, but you're going to be in quite a venue. Are you excited to step inside that stadium and play the first college game down in Vegas?
Yeah, definitely. The NFL stadium, yeah, I think that'll be fun for us. The only other NFL stadium we played in is San Diego State, where the Chargers used to play. But, yeah, I'm excited to play on a new field.